So for step 7, attaching the front gears. Well, as you can see, there's quite a bit of work that has to be done in this step. And here are all the parts we're going to need. You can see there's our bevel gears, the tubes, the shafts, more bevel gears, the joints. We've got our bearings, and then we've got our thrust bearing as well that's got to go in. And then of course we've got all of these pieces here, and then our gears that we put together in the previous step. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to work on this side first, and we're going to put in the joint first as well, because that's going to go in by an E-clip, and if we do that first, it'll make it easier for the rest. So I'll set this up and we'll start putting this together. So if we grab this one right here, which is this side of the gearbox, we need to put the joint in, and you can see that that bearing, it says MA7, well over here it's the ball bearing. So this is the ball bearing that came with the kit, so that's what I'm going to be using. So we can see that that bearing itself has to pop into place right down in there, just like that. And then we can grab our gearbox joint, put that in at the other side, and it's going to be locked into place with an E-clip. So we'll grab one of these E-clips, get it in there, and we'll grab our pliers, and we've snapped it into place. So that way the gearbox joint can't come out of the gearbox, which is probably pretty smart. So that's nicely done. So now I think the next bit that I think is probably the best part to do is this. So you can see that they want to put this piece in. You can see this one, but it has to be greased up. So we'll go ahead and do that. I'll turn it this way to grease it up, but we'll have to turn it around. Just like that. And I mean, it's going to get greased up with the other gear that we're going to end up attaching to this as well, but I've got enough on there, I think, for now. So you can see that the way this is going to go is it needs to fit inside there, just like that. But we have to first put in our ball thrust bearing, and you can see all the balls in there. That's how you know it's the one. That's got to slide into there. That's going to slide down there. And you can see there's just enough room for the metal bearing, the 850, to slide down there into place. So that's how that's going to look. Now, the next bit here is we need to grab our propeller joint, this piece right here. And you can see they want you to grease it all up, which I will do. Okay, there we go. And you can see that we're going to need to put a bearing into there. So because this one is the MA8s, these would have been the plastic ones that I'm replacing with the ball bearing. So we're going to grab one of the ones that I got and put that in. And then this is going to slide through there. Now what you've got to make sure of is you can see that there was a square part on the counter, what is it, this gear right here. So we need to make sure that this is going to end up sliding through, and make sure, there we go, we've got it in the right spot. So that's how that's going to look. And then you can see here piece E8, which is this one, is going to go over top and snap into place. So we'll hear the snap. There it goes. So that is now installed, and you can see what that's going to look like. Interesting. So, and that runs really, really nice and smooth too. So that part is done. So what's left on this side is we need to grab the MA23, which was this bevel gear, and you can see that it's just going to slide over top of the joint just like that. So the only thing left to do now is to grease it up. Well, I'm turning this around and I'm using my index finger to turn it while I grease it. There we go. Got enough grease on there. So there we go. There is the one side ready to go. So we can now move on to the other side and put all of the gears in. And of course, there's a lot that we're going to have to grease up. So now we're working on this side of the gearbox. And because we have another joint to put in, we're going to do the exact same thing we did before. We're going to grab our ball bearing, which was the MA7, which is the one that they're telling you should go in there, which is the one that came with the kit. We're going to pop that in. Just like that. Then we're going to grab our gearbox joint, slide that in, and grab the other E-clip. Grab our pliers. And there we go. So again, it's all so that the joint doesn't come out of the gearbox. So that part is done. So now it's a matter of getting these gears into place. Now these two here are, because they're here, are kind of going to be hidden. One's going to be hidden under the other, and then this big gear is going to go on over top of that, which means we need to get these two in there first. Now you can see with this one, it's an MA12, which was the longer tube. That longer tube is going to go inside of that gear right here. And let's have the bearing come with it right there. They're a bit of a looser fit, so that's okay, but let's see. They still want you to grease this up. Now I've switched to a different tube of grease to make this easier because I was running out, and I'll highly suggest that you may want to get more grease for the kit than what it comes with, because it just seems like you can run out pretty quick. They don't give you a lot, which is interesting. Some kits will give you 2 tubes of grease, others only 1. And I've never understood it, but that's the way that it is. So now we're going to slide this into here, just like that, have it go through the other side. And then this gear is going to sit down there, just like that. Now, I'm going to grease this up because it's going to be hidden underneath it. So we're going to do a bit of greasing right now. And it's going to get blended with the other one for greasing as well, but we'll see. And you know, you don't have to go too crazy, but you definitely want enough on there. And I mean, that's going to spin onto the other gear as well, so it's not as critical. But you can see with this one right here, you're going to need to grease these gears and the gears here and the tube. So the tube is now the MA13, which is the slightly smaller one, which I will grease up. Just like that. And that's going to slide through to the other side. Now, because I've got this one and it's going to be tougher to get it in if you don't do this first, I will give this one a bit of grease right off the bat. And it's going to blend in with the other one anyway, but might as well do it. And that's now going to slide down there. Just like that. You can see it's moving as well. Okay, I'm just going to wipe my hands down here. Now you can also see that we have this piece right here, which, according to the way this is going to sit, it's going to sit into the tube just like that. Interesting. And then we can move on to this side. So you can see that we have the bevel gear that has to sit over top of the joint that we just did. So again, we're going to grease this up, and I'm using my middle finger this time behind here to spin this while I put the grease on. There we go. They're also showing that they want you to grease up this shaft, so we'll do that. It's a tiny little thing, and then we're going to put that inside there. Now just note, there's nothing holding this, so you could push this all the way through and it's going to come out the other side with the joint. It's meant to do that. You haven't done anything wrong. I'm going to push that back in a bit there, but that's the way it's designed. And then we've got our differential gear, which is now going to sit this way, but you see the openings? So the openings of those bevel gears are sitting that way, and we can slide that over top, blending and meshing with that gear there. So you can see we've got the full range of motion that way. So that's how it's supposed to sit. Now, because I can use, well, actually not with that one, I am going to spin this and grease it again a bit more. And using my finger to spin the gears. I just find it easier this way than trying to hold on to it. It's kind of nice to run them while they're in the gearbox. So it's well greased now. We got a lot of grease in there. So the only thing left actually on this side is this one, because we didn't get a chance to grease it. So I'm going to put a bunch of grease on there. And there we go. So that is the other side of the gearbox complete. So we have that. That's how that one's going to look. That's how that one, that's how that one's going to look. So step 7 is complete. So now we can move on to step 8, and we're going to put the front gearbox together.